right now, we're not sustainable under Obamacare. And I'm proud to say that by repealing Obamacare entirely, not just bits and pieces of it, by repealing Obamacare entirely, we're getting rid of the spending and the taxes, which means this ends up being a tax cut of about $1 trillion.
Governor Scott Walker unveiling details of his health care proposal at a campaign event in Minnesota. The GOP presidential hopeful says he wants to repeal Obamacare entirely. His plan will provide people with an annual tax credit that would allow them to pay for insurance privately if they don't get insurance through their employers. To talk about this, we're pleased to welcome in the CEO of MDSave, Paul Ketchel. Paul's a former aide to Senator Bill Frist, and of course, former Senator Frist is a cardiac surgeon. Paul joins us tonight from Newsmax, New York. Paul, we really thank you for your time here on Newsmax Prime.
Good evening, JD.
Let me just ask you, when you take a look at the Walker plan, why should the American people get behind Walker with this particular course of action?
Well, the one thing you see in the plan I think that's most important is his plan is going to remove the mandated coverage requirements that have been placed on the plans under the ACA. And those requirements right now have driven premiums through the roof for the average consumer. So the first thing we got to really think about is how do we get those premiums down so that people can afford care? And this is the first major step we've got to do, is getting rid entirely of these mandated coverage requirements. Let people have the plans they need, not what the government is regulating they have.
Paul, you've got a unique situation because you know public policy as an aide to former Senator Frist. You're working in health care right now. When you look at this plan, what would be the degree of change, and can Governor Walker, in fact, repeal Obamacare entirely? Should he become president?
I think repealing Obamacare entirely is going to be pretty difficult right now. I think what you can do is look at the plan, change some of the funding mechanisms as he's outlined in his plan, and make some of those moves and really affect it. So, what's really going to be the needle mover, as we talked about, is removing the mandated coverage requirements. I think getting the taxes off, all these Obamacare taxes they've put in place, removing those taxes is essential because that's driving up our pharmaceutical costs, our medical device costs, and all of those costs are being passed on to the consumer. So those are some things we can do right away, and then start to move into tax credits and some of the other things. But I think a total repeal is going to be difficult just because of the full scope of the bill and what's already in place. But you can dramatically change what's there and make something that's much more efficient, something the public can use versus these high-cost measures they're dealing with today.
Fair enough. Paul Ketchel checking in from Newsmax, New York, assessing the Scott Walker plan for health care. Paul, we thank you very much. Now, it's time to take a look at what's on your mind via social media. Our first comment comes in from Janet, who writes in about our interview with Harlan Ullman last night. And she says, on JD's show last night, Harlan Ullman stated that America is great but could be greater. Wrong. America used to be great. The Obama transformation of the United States is a train wreck. Next up, a comment from Bradley, who writes in about another interview, the one with Michael Reagan. And he says, the problem with America is corrupt politics and a broken system that has proven over the years to not work. I forecast Americans are fed up to the point of learning more about the laws and will reignite the fight. And finally, we hear from Patty, who writes in about the appeal of Donald Trump. She says the reason Trump is doing so well is because he's not a politician. So many of us are sick and tired of politicians because they're good at campaigning and nothing else. They promise that they will do this or that, and nothing gets done because they are beholden to special interest. We need a strong person to create jobs, deal with ISIS, and fix the lopsided trade deals. Politicians can't or won't do it. Patty, thank you for that comment. For everyone, we thank you for those comments. And if you have some comments for us, here is where you send them. NewsmaxTV.com/comments. That'll do it for this Wednesday night edition of Newsmax Prime. For those you see and those you don't, J.D. Hayworth saying, stay brave, stay free, stay tuned.